Welcome to the Mastering Energy Medicine podcast. I'm Beth Manning, a psychic healer, and this is the podcast to help you deeply connect to your body, mind, and soul so you can heal the root cause of pain, disease, and illness and connect with your inner wise woman to make more informed health choices and fall deeply in love with your body and with your life. Hello and welcome back. This is episode 10. And today I want to talk about something that has been coming more and more into my awareness, being shown to me when I'm channeling. And I love this concept so much. So I'm so excited to share it, especially around the time of the solstice when we are connecting to ourselves, connecting to the earth. And this is this concept of the inner wise woman. I keep being shown this concept and it keeps coming through as I'm writing social media posts, as I'm working with clients to help them to heal. And I feel like the inner wise woman is similar to our intuition, but that it also holds this beautiful connection to our ancestors, to the earth, to our global community, to our local community. And that I keep being shown as well that connecting back to this inner wise woman is the way to connect to our bodies in order to heal. That we have this beautiful internal compass inside of ourselves that is our inner wise woman, and everyone has that compass inside that is really helping you to heal. It's helping to guide your body toward the best choices that you can make, toward the people who are going to help to uplift you, help you to heal, to see the best in yourself, to the communities that are going to nurture you, and to the practices and the connection to the earth that is really providing this vitamin nature, we could call it, that we can't get from anything else, right? It's asking us to embrace the sun instead of being afraid of it. It's asking us to eat in order to nurture our bodies and to think about ways in which we can nourish ourselves with this connection to the earth and this connection to each other and to our community. And I think we tend to overcomplicate healing. It's like you have to find the perfect modality, the perfect practitioner, the perfect time. You have to commit, X amount of hours to doing this. And it can feel like, I can either have my life or I can heal. And I don't think it has to be a choice. You don't have to choose between the two things. You can have your life and you can heal. But I think the important thing is that we are tapped into this inner wise woman who's giving us this guidance for our healing. So we're not running all over the place trying 50 different things and, seeing one practitioner for a few times and then, nothing magical has happened, so I'm on to the next thing, and seeking out that magical modality, whatever it is that week. And I don't believe that that's what the inner wise woman is directing us to do. She's really directing us inside to see that you already have so many of the tools within you for healing your body. You already hold so much of this power, so much of this energy to shift how you're feeling and to shift the things that aren't working for you in your life. But so often where I think we get caught up and trip ourselves a bit is that we're outsourcing this power. We always think that the answers have to come from outside of me. There's something magical that if I just find the right person, the right thing, the right book, the right podcast, that's going to make my healing so much easier. That there's some kind of quick fix or an answer out there that if I just find it, life will be good. And your inner wise woman is saying, hey, come back home to yourself, come back home to your body. The answers are already inside of you. And I know what you're probably thinking, because I work with so many clients who come to me because they don't feel connected to their body. They don't feel connected to their intuition. It feels like this foreign concept to really understand what their body is asking them for. And when we talk about that, pain and symptoms are really your body's way of talking to you, I know that people will say, but I don't understand. I'm listening, but I can't interpret this language that my body is saying. And first of all, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. This is such a common thing that I hear. And I myself, I remember the times when it was like, okay, body, like really, could you just give me a sign? Could you just, maybe spell it out for me? Just help me, give me an arrow, a direction, what the heck do you want me to know? Because I am not understanding you. And I think so much of this comes from being raised in a culture that, we're told to not focus on ourselves. We're told to, don't explore your body. Don't, this is the proper way to act. This is the proper way to dress. Don't be so caught up with yourself. And don't be so selfish. Don't be so fixated on you. The world doesn't revolve around you. All these things that get us out of our body. And then we go to a doctor who, we take our power and we hand it over to a doctor to know what's best for us. And really, if we stop and think about that, how can anyone know what's best for you, what's best for me? They don't. They can't, right? We can run some tests. We can get some metrics on what the physical body is doing. But no one has any idea what's best for you except for you. That's the only one who knows. And I'll give you a couple of ways I want to talk to you about how to begin to connect to your inner wise woman, because I think that's super important. But I wanted to just take some pressure off the fact that, if you're not totally connected to your intuition or your soul or your inner wise woman or that whisper, whatever you want to call it, that this is a process, of unraveling and giving this time to develop. It's like a new relationship. When you first meet somebody, there's a lot of mystery. We have to get to know each other. We have to build that trust. So connecting with this inner wise woman is the same way, even though she's been inside you all along. And I guarantee that throughout your life, you've had glimpses of connecting with her. You've had glimpses of just knowing that this is what I had to do, or, this, I had to eat a certain way or sleep more or change something in my life. So I guarantee you've had some glimpses of her, but oftentimes, we live in such an outward society where our focus isn't on ourselves all that much. And then we also have such a love for our logic as well, right? Like in school, you were commended for what you could memorize and, getting the best grades on the multiple choice test. And it wasn't about wisdom. It wasn't about, how well you know yourself or how well you understand your patterns. It wasn't about that at all. That was never what got us the highest grades or the most accolades. So wisdom is not really something that we commend so much, especially in children. So we learn to live in our logical mind. And your inner wise woman isn't in your mind. She's in your body. And so often I think we try to force ourselves to have these answers, and we rely on logic. We rely on what we've been told about the condition we have or the pain we have based on somebody else's experience or based on a double-blind study or what our doctor has explained the situation to be to us. And this is all logic. So to understand our connection to that inner wise woman, we really have to learn how to put our logic aside and be in our bodies. And I want to give you a few ways that I find are really helpful to do that. So the first is to get out of your logical mind and into your body. And this is easier said than done, for sure, but I want to give you a little practice to start doing it. So the first thing is to start paying attention to what your logical mind sounds like. So often it'll come from a certain place in your head. It'll have a certain quality to it. It might, you might recognize the sound of the voice. And without getting super deep into this, because we could go very deep into what each voice in your head is and where it's coming from and what it serves. But I just want you to start understanding what your inner wise woman doesn't sound like. Okay, so we can do that by starting to listen to when you're trying to solve a problem. What does that sound like? What does that feel like? Where in your head is it? When you're worrying about something, what's happening? Right? So slowing down and really noticing what's going on, who's talking, what it sounds like, how it's making you feel. And then I want you to practice. So once you've observed this for a little bit, you start to understand what it sounds like. I want you to practice putting that energy. You can picture yourself just picking it up and putting that logical mind in a beautiful golden basket. And we're saying, okay, you're going to stay over here for now. And then I want you to feel yourself just bringing your focus, bringing your energy, as if you're pulling something down. I want you to practice just pulling it down into your heart space. So you're focusing in your heart space, not in your head. So if you're in your heart space and it feels like you're jumping into that logical mind again, like I can actually feel when, and a lot of clients can, when their focus jumps from their heart space to their head, when they're trying to logically think through something. And just go through that again. You can even wrap it in some energy and push it aside, and then pull your focus back down to your heart space. So we pull our focus down to our body because this is where that inner wisdom lives. It doesn't live inside of our minds. And you're going to start to listen when you bring that focus down. You're going to start to just tap in. You can even put your hand on your heart space and just practice clearing your mind here. Practice focusing on that heart space. Practice just being very relaxed and open as you tune in. And just notice what happens. And this voice of this inner wisdom is probably going to sound softer. It's probably going to feel more like a spreading or an opening in your heart space, in your chest, a relaxing of your body. It's like this inner knowing. So I just want you to start sitting with that inner knowing. And you don't even have to ask it questions. Just be with it. Just be open to it. Just open to receive. And just listening, allowing, inviting it in. And then when you start to get a glimpse of what it's saying, what it's talking about, what it's asking of you perhaps, you could even ask it a question if you like. You know, what's important for me to understand right now? What's the most aligned food for my body right now? What's the most aligned exercise? How much sleep do I need right now? You start asking it questions. But then after you ask a question, I want you to start hearing the answer, hearing where it's coming from, hearing how it feels in your body, and then following it. Because that's the only way to know if we've truly are listening to that inner wise woman, is by following her advice and then seeing what happens, seeing where it leads to, and seeing what the outcome is. So that's the only way to truly know that we're listening to that intuition inside of us, is to see what the outcome is. So that's the first piece of it. And the second piece is connecting through nature. So when you start to connect to nature more, it's almost like how you plug your phone in at night. This is how I kind of view it. When I go outside, and I do this every morning, the first thing I do when I wake up is I make myself a matcha with, I use raw milk and put some collagen in there. I like to get some protein first thing in the morning. And then I always go outside. If it's wintertime and I can't go outside, I will gaze out the window in the direction of the sunrise. And I do this before I put my contact lenses in, because the contact lenses actually prevent the UVA rays from hitting your eyes. And I stand barefoot if possible in the grass. I do some energy balancing and things like that. But the important thing is to be outside first thing in the morning. And this was one of the first things that when I started really tapping into my inner wise woman, that she was very clear about, that she wanted this morning sun and this morning grounding, and that this was a really important practice. And the more that I started to research this, the more I understood that getting that sunlight first thing in our eyes in the morning really stimulates so many of our sex hormones, thyroid, pituitary gland. It jumpstarts your body. It activates it for the day to start the processes that are so important for your health. And I mean, this helps to modulate your weight. It helps to protect against disease. There's just so much great research out there about this and about getting sunlight, especially in the morning. So I make sure that I'm coming in contact with the sun before I'm coming in contact with my phone or any other artificial lights, as best as we can do. So things like this, once we start to connect, once you start to understand that pull of that wisdom coming from within you and starting to follow its practices, then, connecting to nature too will also help you to connect into that inner wisdom. It's like the two work hand in hand. And so often, nature is this beautiful reset, throughout the day. It's like if I'm on the computer for a long time and I slip off my shoes, go outside, stand in the lawn, do a little grounding and, start to shift my energy. It's incredible how it's kind of like you're back in this rhythm. You're back, in that flow of life, in that flow of, how we are meant to be living. So I think the more we can follow these natural rhythms and processes, eating local food that's in season and getting that sunlight, getting out in nature, spending that time taking a hike or standing by water or swimming in water, whatever we can do, it's so, so beneficial for helping to jumpstart these internal processes and this energetic internal connection that we have to ourselves, but that also connects us to everything else in nature and in everything else in our community, in our global community. And so much of research, even about cancer, it's a disease of isolation, when a cell isolates itself. And we were never meant to be isolated. We were always meant to be in relationship with our greater world, with nature. And that's really what connecting to the inner wise woman is all about. And I love talking about this in the energy of the summer solstice. And this is such a great time to go outside and to start connecting and to give yourself maybe a few minutes each morning to make that connection to yourself. So that's part of what I do when I'm standing outside in the morning is I am often putting a hand on my chest, a hand on my belly, and I'm just breathing and connecting to my body and assessing kind of the landscape of what it needs that day, because it changes all the time. And oftentimes we don't really understand the change that our body has undergone until we get sick or until we start having symptoms. And it's like, whoa, okay, like I guess my body needs something. But what if you could stand outside in the morning and really feel into your body and understand those changes ahead of time? And you don't have to be an energy reader or a psychic to start to connect with your body in those ways. To start to tune into a niggling pain right away. To start to feel when a food doesn't feel so great in your body anymore. Just little things like that. Little things become big things. So it's really important to pay attention and to give yourself that time. And I think nature helps us provide that spotlight even greater on ourselves and on our body when we are connected, when we are seeing that we are a cog in the greater wheel of life. We can really start to appreciate just what we have to offer and our own inner beauty and our own inner light that we are here to shine. And the only way to start shining that inner light and feeling that beauty, it comes from within you. You're never going to find that outside. You're never going to find that in a book or a podcast. That comes from connecting to you. And I promise you that when you make the commitment to your body, when you say, I'm ready to have that relationship, I'm ready to connect to my inner wise woman, to understand what I really need. And then when you start doing the actions to back that up, it's like your body takes this huge sigh of relief and it's like, oh my goodness, thank you. Like I've been wanting to have this relationship with you for years, and thank you so much for finally coming to the table. So I would love for you to experiment with connecting, to try that practice of bringing your focus down into your body, into your heart space. If you like breath work, that's a great time to bring that breath work in as well. Anything that helps you come home to yourself and to feel connected to you. That's a beautiful place to start. And I want to wish you all a happy solstice, a happy self-connection day, a happy nature connection day. And if you would like to heal your body, I have some ways in which we can work together. Everything from me channeling on a health issue that you're having and giving you some detailed information, to working together in a program, helping to heal, providing meditations and support for you along the way. And I also have some freebies available. One to help you understand your symptoms, to help you understand what the energetic connection to them is, so that you can start to identify the root cause. So I'll put links to all of those in the show notes below. If you have any questions or are just curious what this whole healing thing is all about, what my approach is, how it would help your specific condition, I would love for you to reach out, to send me a message either online or email, and just introduce yourself. Say, hi, this is what I'm struggling with, and I would love some feedback, and I will write back to you. So thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I would absolutely love for you to share it with someone who would benefit. My goal is to get this out into the world as much as possible, to really change the paradigm of how we view our bodies and our health and our healing. So I would love for you to help me do that. That would mean so much to me, as would a starred rating or a review. So thank you so much for listening today, and I will catch you next time on the Mastering Energy Medicine podcast.